Today we'll be taking a look at the full datasheet for the Primaris Eradicators that will be coming out in this Indomitus box. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where we've been taking a look at the 9th edition news and changes as they've been coming out. Some fairly significant news today for the Space Marines, as we've got a fairly generous preview of the rules for the new Primaris Eradicators, complete with their crazy 24-inch range Melta rifles, which are frankly even longer range than I was expecting. Unless I'm being dumb and forgetting anything, then I think that these are the first Primaris Marines that actually have Melta weapons, so it's good to see some more iconic 40k things being ported through to the Primaris range. Unsurprisingly, the Eradicators find their role as tank and monster hunters. It's good to see further options for dealing with the heaviest targets with Primaris Space Marines. They have been gradually acquiring more and more abilities for this. In terms of the looks of the models, in general I'm a bit of a bigger fan now I can actually see them up close and personal, although I do sort of question whether they really needed to be in Gravis armour as opposed to the slightly more standard Intercessor or Hellblaster Mark 10 armour, as I think it does kind of make the guns that these guys hold just look a little bit small, even though in real terms they are actually pretty massive. They just look a little bit similar to Terminators holding rifles, which isn't really an image that was seen very much in Warhammer 40k. In any case, let's get onto the datasheet then, as posted on the Warhammer community website today. So this one very much looks like a slimmed down version of a datasheet that you typically find in these box sets. No options whatsoever, or no options to vary their squad size either. Just a basic slimmed down datasheet giving you the rules that you need to know to field them straight away. Slightly annoyingly, they haven't yet told us whether they're going to be an elite's choice or say a heavy support choice, so we're still going to be guessing on that. I'm a little bit torn between the two to be honest, though if I had to guess I would probably say heavy support, if partly because it already looks like we've got elites in the Blade Guard and fast attack in the Outriders already in the box. We do know that the squad will be a 5 power level squad though, which is the same power level that a 3-man unit of aggressors is, and they're 110 points at the moment. Typically power level tends to translate to around about 20 points, although it can vary very significantly for certain units, particularly after points revisions in chapter approved, but my estimates for the squad would be somewhere between 90 and 120 points. I know that's quite a big variation there, but somewhere in the middle is where I put my guess. I wouldn't be surprised if they were somewhere around the 105 to 110 mark. In terms of their stat line, they very much have the standard Gravis armour profile. Movement 5, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7 and a 3+ save, and the Eradicator Sergeant has the usual upgrade of 1 more pip of leadership and 1 extra attack. In terms of war gear, they're armed with a bolt pistol and a Melta rifle. I thought it was interesting to see Gravis models with pistols. Again, as a big bulky armour mark, not so very different from Terminator armour, I didn't think that that'd be the sort of thing that we'd be seeing on them. We all know what bolt pistols do, but these Melta rifles are pretty interesting. They have a 24-inch range, assault 1, strength 8, AP -4, damage d6, with the usual Melta rule that means they get to roll 2d6 and pick the highest on their damage results when they're within 12-inch range. These are, to all intents and purposes, assault 1 multi-melters, but it gets better than that thanks to their total obliteration rule. Total obliteration is a rule that applies within your shooting phase, and you can declare this unit will only shoot at a single target. If you do, then select 1 target for the unit. Models in the unit can shoot twice that phase, but they can only target that enemy unit and that alone. Basically, just focus fire, don't split your shots out, and you get 6 shots with this unit rather than 3. I think under any normal circumstances, you're going to be aiming to use this every single turn. It's not so very different from the aggressor's rule of being able to fire twice, but I'd say the restriction is a lot less punitive, just focusing down 1 unit rather than having to remain stationary, as giving up your movement is a really big deal. Aside from this, as expected, they have the Angels of Death special rule, giving you shock assault for the extra attack in close combat, extra AP with those Melta rifles when you're in the tactical doctrine. Not necessarily that you're going to be needing it, unless you're fighting something with a 2+ save and no invul. They have all the keywords that you'd expect for them, and being infantry in particular is pretty handy for a gun platform, as it means that they'll have some very favourable interactions with terrain. So of course we need to know the points cost before we know exactly how good they are and how they're going to fit into 9th edition, but on the whole to me they seem like a pretty reasonable choice and could be a really interesting choice for certain Space Marine chapters. At the moment they're only fieldable in 3s, but I believe that was a similar rule that the Inceptors had as soon as they were released in their Dark Imperium box, and when they came out as a multi-part plastic kit in the future, they acquired different options, and also the ability to be fielded in units of 6. I suspect that this will be an option for these guys, as it looks like it's a similar sort of release, but we can't be 100% sure. They may be stuck in the same sort of limbo as the suppressors. However, for these guys, I think that smaller units are going to be better for the most part. Basically, that focus fire special rule means that you're really going to be wanting to fire all of them into 1 target, and if you have absolutely loads of them in the squad, then you sort of get into overkill a bit, and you're faced with a couple of enemy vehicles that were almost dead, then it's going to make sense to split fire anyway and not get the double shots rule. It's going to be far more flexible to have 2 small 3-man units of these than 1 big 6-man, though of course this would have less synergy with things like litanies, stratagems or other 1-unit buffs. Defense-wise, it looks like they're going to be pretty similar to the aggressors point for point, which as we already know can have durability significantly enhanced. They combo very well with things like the Chief Apothecary for a Feel No Pain type save, or Dark Angels or Iron Hands, who can both give them an invul save with special characters. Sadly they don't have the awesome power fists that the aggressors have, but those Melta rifles do have an advantage over them in that they're fairly long ranged comparatively. You don't need to get anywhere near as close as you would need to with a Boltstorm Gauntlet, let alone those 8-inch Flamestorm Gauntlets. In particular, this very decent effective range is going to be really useful for any armies that can deep strike, things like Raven Guard or maybe even Death Watch if they gain access to this unit, and it means that you could have these guys dropping in with those Melta rifles, melting people in optimal 12-inch range. I've always found it a bit sad that any units armed with Melta guns are always outside of Melta range when they drop in from deep strike, whether that's drop podding, teleporting or using Raven Guard shenanigans. These guys very much fix that and can double shoot against 1 target to boot. If you're happy to waive the Melta rule though, then it means that you can drop quite a long way away and still get in range. Of course, starting on the board is more viable with longer range as well. I think needless to say that Salamanders are absolutely going to love this unit. They'll both get the +1 to wound for being Melta weapons when in the tactical doctrine, and also being a low number of shots but high power shots unit, they're going to make excellent use of their rerolls, particularly Master Artisans. I think Ultramarines for their fall back and shoot could also be a pretty decent option, as they will be wanting to get close, and you don't really want that firepower tied up. In terms of damage output, I think it looks quite good on the face of it. If they manage to get within 12 inches of a toughness 7 vehicle, they should tear it to shreds with on average 12 wounds going through, and they still get a massive 9 wounds on it if they're outside of 12-inch range. Against toughness 8 of course it is less impressive, but you'll still get on average 9 wounds, or 7 wounds if you're outside of 12-inch Melta range. I'd be very surprised if they don't outperform things like Las Fusel Eliminators for the same role, and frankly, unless these guys cost a fair amount more than Hellblasters, then I think you'd have a very tough time justifying taking Hellblasters over these. They still get 2 shots at a fairly decent range, but those shots are so much more powerful, and of course they're a lot more durable thanks to the Gravis armour. Not killing yourself with overcharged plasma is also certainly a positive. Of course, we'll still need to find out their points cost and all the other things that are going to be changing in 9th, but on the whole I think it looks really quite good for these guys being a useful addition to the Primaris range, and I'm sure the ones that are coming in the Indomitus box set will most certainly see lots of use in plenty of people's games. So let me know your thoughts on them down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where we'll have plenty of other analysis of these and the other Indomitus units as things come out. We'll certainly do one of our full unit tactics analysis on these guys once all information is revealed. If you'd like to help support the channel, I'd just like to mention that I do have an Element Games affiliate link, which is down in the video description below. Element Games is a discount retailer based in the UK, and they ship to the UK and Europe as well. If you were thinking about buying some models in the near future, then if you click the link before making an order, then a small amount of the money goes to Auspex Tactics without costing you any more at time of purchase, so it can be a way to help support the channel with models that you were thinking about ordering already. If you live in the USA or Canada, I do have an Amazon affiliate link as well. Again, that works in pretty much the same way. Click the link, make an order, and some of the money goes to help support the channel. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.